Welcome to History in Uniform, where Appalachian history meets military heritage. From the hills and hollers of Appalachia to battlefields around the world, we celebrate the stories, sacrifices, and traditions of the men and women who served. Join us as we explore the people, places, and history that shaped a region and a nation. This is History in Uniform on Ancestry Roads. Today we have a special webcast from Ancestry Roads as we celebrate Appalachia Project and Appalachia Week on Wikitree, wikitree.com. My name is Sandy, and I brought with me today my partner on my podcast, History in Uniform, as well as my husband, Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hey, how you doing?
Kind of strange. We're in two different locations.
Yes.
We're usually in the podcast studio together, but we're in two different locations. Mike usually co-hosts with me the History in Uniform, celebrating Appalachia heroes and military stories, and we explore their military journeys. So we thought instead of doing just a podcast, we would actually do a webcast. And today we're celebrating Warrant Officer Hershel Woodward Williams, also known as Woody. He was born in Quietdale, Marion County, West Virginia, and that qualifies him as an Appalachian, right, Mike?
Yes, it does. He was born there in 1923.
And as we know, all of West Virginia is in Appalachia. He is a Medal of Honor recipient, U.S. Marine Corps, and he fought in World War II in Iwo Jima and Okinawa. So we're going to talk a little bit about him and what he did to get that particular Medal of Honor award. Before we start, Mike, can you tell us a little bit, what is the Medal of Honor in the United States?
The Medal of Honor is the highest award for valor that a person can receive in the United States military. Usually, if you're receiving a Medal of Honor, you've done something and put yourself at risk, to the benefit or save or protect others to the point that you really should have died doing it, which is why there's a lot of Medal of Honor recipients receive it posthumously.
So, Mike, he has an interesting story about how he joined the military. Can you enlighten us a little bit and tell us the story?
Yes. So he was born in 1923, which means when America entered the war in 1941, he was 18. And he wanted to go into the service. And when he was looking at the service, he looked at the Army and he looked at their uniforms, the brown uniforms. And he's like, that's the ugliest uniform. I don't want that. But then he saw the Marine recruiters in their dress blues, and he goes, I want to be a Marine. That dress blue is a good-looking uniform. So he tried to enlist, and he was rejected because he's 5'6". Mm-hmm. And at the time, the Marine Corps had height regulations, and he was too short. So in 1943, they loosened the regulations on height. So he went back, enlisted in the Marine Corps, and at that point, he was accepted and sent off to recruit training.
So I should pause right now and say, you can understand and appreciate that Marine Corps uniform, right?
Oh, yeah. Everybody loves dress blues.
Well, especially, I would say, Marines.
Yeah. We got the best looking dress uniform.
So this is a good time to also mention that Mike was in the U.S. Marine Corps as well. Ooh. Okay. So he enters the military. He gets into the military. It's World War II. He goes to boot camp.
Yep. And Marines in World War II, you're going to the Pacific.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. So he was trained as a demolition man. And if you were a demolition, part of the things you could do was operate a flamethrower.
So he finishes boot camp. He's going to the Pacific. He already knows that. Probably, like you said, he knows that going into boot camp.
Yep.
And he's headed there, and he is assigned what you guys call MOS, which is what?
Military Operational Specialty.
And it's basically your position, your job, your occupation. And so he is a flamethrower. What exactly is a flamethrower in World War II?
Well, a flamethrower It shoots flames, literally, about, 30, 40 yards. It'll shoot this jet of flames. It had three tanks that he carried around. Two of the tanks were a mixture of diesel and aviation fuel, and the other one was the compressed air that would shoot the fuel out. So you're walking around in a combat zone with combustible stuff on your back that if it gets shot by a bullet by the enemy, you're a ball of flame.
And you're taking out yourself and many around you.
Yep. And flamethrower operators did not operate behind the lines. They were in front of the infantry and everybody else often, because their job was to clear bunkers, pillboxes, trenches, tunnels. So they were constantly out in front, putting themselves in harm's way.
So even if you were not targeted because you're a flamethrower, you're targeted because you're in the front.
Yes.
Absolutely. So either way, you were targeted no matter what.
Absolutely.
And now as you start to build this story, you can kind of see what Mike pointed out at the very beginning, that most Medal of Honor recipients get it after they have been killed in battle. Correct. And that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So for the Pacific Theater, what exactly did he do? We know what he did as a job, but what exactly did he do and where did he do it to be considered to be awarded the Medal of Honor?
During the Battle on Iwo Jima, which was his first island that he was on, he was using his flamethrower. Like I said, he was out in front of the troops, like a battalion of Marines, infantry, and they're charged with securing and clearing the island. And so he would attack with his flamethrower concrete bunkers, which he would shoot it through the slot that the enemy was shooting out of. So he was shooting fire into there. The Japanese had a tunnel network all over the island they were going to use for defense. So they'd find a tunnel, and he would shoot the flamethrower down into that. And just generally, your machine gun nest, something like that, he would stand up exposing themselves, and he would shoot at the machine gun nest to take out that. So that, and it was a constant thing of, he would secure an area with his flamethrower, the troops would advance behind him, and then he would go put himself out farther in front again and do it over and over again. And he did it so well to the point that they were like, this guy has just been incredible. It's like he put himself at risk, and he was basically put in for the Medal of Honor.
So he's basically leapfrogging ahead.
Yes.
Of the troops. And when you say troops, can you give me an estimate of how many troops he was leapfrogging in front of so they could get through?
Several hundred.
Wow.
Probably 200 to 300.
Wow.
And he was in front of the guys who were not the infantry, but the machine gunners who were carrying Browning fully automatic machine guns. They weren't out in front. They had him out in front.
Wow.
So they would, once he established a clear area, they would advance forward. They would secure a line, so in case the enemy counterattacked, and he just kept going.
So it's interesting because he didn't initially get into the military because he was too short. And I would think being short would be a good thing for this position. Easier to maneuver and not so tall as a target.
Yeah, correct. Another person that's like Audie Murphy, who is the most decorated military person in the history of the U.S. military, he was only 5'6". So there's this history of guys who win the Medal of Honor who are all short.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, okay, so he survives. He comes home. And then is he instantly or fairly instantly awarded the Medal of Honor then, or did he have to wait a couple years?
He was actually awarded it before he went home.
Before he went home?
Because he fought in Iwo Jima and Okinawa. And basically at that point in the war, the ground troops were kind of just occupying. So on February 21st, 1945, Congress approved and President Truman awarded him the Medal of Honor.
And then he lived To be how long?
He lived to be 99.
99 years old. And I can tell you that he passed away in Huntington, West Virginia. So he was a West Virginia boy through and through.
Yep.
What do you know what he did after the war, his occupation?
I don't know what he did, but I know that after he got home and for the rest of his life, he dedicated himself to supporting Gold Star families. And,
Oh,
Gold Stars
yeah.
families are families that had a loved one, a son or a daughter. World War II is pretty much sons, but died during the war, died in combat.
That's really awesome because I think it was more common to
Mhm.
hear what Gold Star families, especially Gold Star moms, but Gold Star families are right after World War II. It seems in the later, more modern wars, we don't hear about them as much and our moms. So he was 99 years old. Truman gave him the Medal of Honor. He was a flamethrower that survived, helped thousands of troops, hundreds at a time, get through the line. And he was born, lived, and died in West Virginia in Appalachia. I said usually we do a podcast on military and history in uniform. So thanks for joining me on the webcast.
It was great. Great talking about Woody.
Thanks for traveling the roads of Appalachia with us. Until next time, keep searching, keep discovering, and keep the stories alive on Ancestry Roads.